Hey YouTube, Lawler here as always. Another crazy week of RLCS, and this time we have officially solidified which teams from Europe are going to be attending the major. And no, it is not the ones we expected. Couple crazy results that we'll talk about. I've got some stats for you guys at the end. Let me know what you guys like the most down below in the comments. But with that said, let's jump into the recap right away and let you guys know what went down. So we have our 16 teams that were competing this past weekend in Europe in Open 3, the final Open of the first split. We have our teams that are going to Birmingham. Try not to spoil too early here. But our 16 teams that competed are familiar faces. Nothing too crazy. No new names, which we then get our crazy groups here. K-Corp makes their way through. Ninjas in Pajamas makes their way through. GK makes their way through. And Vitality makes their way through. Although it is unfortunate for teams like Ascend that have shown potential moving into the top 8, the 4 best teams make it out. That is what should happen, even if situations are chaotic. Even if we see K-Corp, Vitality, GK, NIP, Mates, etc. in the same side of things, those are the teams that need to move through. And let's be perfectly honest with ourselves. Gentlemates, the team that I have been very critical of and hoped we would start to see trend in a positive direction, my assumption is they're going to be making a roster change. My assumption is they're going to go after the Gyuks, the Eugens, the Nikos, all these young players that have a lot of talent, because this Mates team isn't it. It's unfortunate. It is the reality of things that, if you're trying to go to France, you got to make a change, because what's happening right now is not it. And I don't envy that situation. Or they double down and try to build and develop with what they've got. But based upon what we're seeing, most people are going to say, hey, it's time to make a change. So my assumption is Gentlemates is probably going to go after someone like Eugen and see if they make him an offer he can't refuse. That is the look of things. But Mates, not only are you not making it into top 8 in a stacked group, you're also going 0-2 against teams that you should be beating if you're going to be competitive. Like, at least give yourself a chance against Vitality. But you don't even make it to that. You lose to AJG Dorito. It's unfortunate for them. So they don't make it through. In Group B, more of the same. The biggest surprise, though, is Redemption does power their way through a top 6. These are games that Starpoint definitely needs to be winning if they are also going to be in consideration as part of that conversation. But Cash and those guys do hold on. Very happy for them because they've been battling. There was definitely some words that were exchanged on the timeline by some people, primarily through Stizzy and otherwise. If you guys want to check that out, go ahead. But basically talking about how you only have one good result, and it's like, the irony in that is you're telling me that you only have one good result to Dignitas, even though Redemption has historically not made top 8s, and also this is their only one good result, and they're doing it against teams that pale in comparison. With that being in mind, if we're giving credit where it's due, Redemption does take down 100% and Starpoint to make it there. I think that's saying something. On the other side of things, 100% does fall short. They do end up losing to Starpoint, and we've seen this historically before, where 100% doesn't look quite the strongest, but still finds a way into top 8 and then battles their way through into a top 6 or a top 4. Curious if that happens again. But out of this group, Dignitas is the favorite by far. Starpoint, 100%. Probably 100% is the second strongest. Who makes it after that is open for conversation. Caliente, so close to make it. K-Dop almost making top 8, which would have been amazing. But good to see Starpoint. Those guys do hold on and provide some consistency there. Which then gives us our final bracket. A couple things that we're going to try to showcase shortly here. In our uppers, K-Corp, obviously still considered probably the best team in the world, making Redemption look like a fool. As they should. Doesn't matter. Redemption's still going to drop down to lowers. Still guaranteed top 6. When it came to playoff scenarios, there was basically 2 things coming into Championship Sunday and Saturday that needed to happen. Basically, everybody was rooting for, if you're like one of the teams not in the top 4 already, you need Dignitas to continue to win and you need NIP to lose. You also then needed your other competition, like if you're 100%, you need Redemption, you need Starpoint, you need all these other teams to lose as well. GK, you name it. If you're GK, you need everybody to keep winning except for Ninjas in Pajamas, and then you need to power through. And we'll talk about that more specifically when we get there, because as you've seen by the title of this video, GK at this point had a 3.86% chance or something like that, statistically speaking, to go from where they were in the standings to making the major. They needed 3 scenarios to go in their favor. They needed what is objectively an impossible type scenario run to make it happen. And they did it. Not only did they do it, they did it perfectly. On Saturday, they won their match against 100%. It went to game 7. It was a goal away from them being eliminated. 1 goal. They then go up against Redemption, which is a game they should obviously win, which they do. But what is crazy is on Championship Sunday, after these 4 matches are played, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So after these 4 matches are played on championships or on Saturday, we find out the situation that GK needs to beat Redemption, they need to beat Dignitas, and then they have to win in the grand final. They have to win the entirety of the event. Many of us assume they're going to face the team that has been unbeatable, that is on a world type run in K Corp. They not only beat the odds, the 3 point whatever % odds, they hold their competition to 9 goals total. 3 goals in this game, 3 goals in this game, and 3 goals in this game. They let up an average of 3 goals a series to go and close out their situation, which is unprecedented. It is unbelievable to not only do the unthinkable, but to also dominate this convincingly. Oli on the Batmobile has literally resurged the car more than Cookser ever could. Like, it's insane how many people we see doing the Batmobile now, because he played on a Batmobile for whatever reason. On this side of the Factor 2, GK needed this exact scenario to happen. They needed NIP to lose and then lose again with Vitality continuing to win. If NIP wins this and they go here, them winning this forces a tiebreaker between GK and NIP. That also doesn't happen in their favor, which is chaos. At this point, Dignitas has secured their spot, K-Corp has secured their spot, and Vitality has secured their spot. So there was only one spot to play for, and it's between GK and NIP. NIP then has to watch this thing unfold day after day, and people like are losing their minds. This series was a bloodbath. Like, sure, it was somewhat close, but like watching GK Oli pre-jumped everything. He had defensive, he was averaging like 9 saves a game or something ridiculous. Like, stupid stats to make it, like, it just should not happen. Like, legitimately should not happen. Now, a lot of people are looking as well at the major playoff scenarios and like who's gonna play who, because of book holes. Like, it's so weird watching like EU1. It has a harder match than EU2, but I need people to remind them that while your first initial match may be difficult, every other match after that in Swiss does benefit you. As the high seed, you will always get the easiest competition versus the opposite, where if you're a low seed, you get a more difficult challenger. So you may lose 0-1, but in the 0-1 round, you're going to have an easier match. In the 1-1 round, you're going to have an easier match. It is advantageous for you to still have a high seed. So everybody's like, oh, they're trolling, they're throwing because they're trying to... Not the case, you guys. Not the case. But it was unbelievable to watch this play out. A lot of us are still kind of left speechless. A lot of us have no idea what to do other than just tweet Joyo pictures, because like Joyo's inevitable. It's literally what I did. After they won, I literally just put up this. Like, for them to make it back is unbelievable. Their coach, Nick, to put in perspective, they said it on stream. It was like a stat from Direct about the players on K-Corp of how many events they had won, right? Like, they were talking like Vitira has won 11 regionals. Atal has won 8 or 9. Drawley has won like 6, whatever it was. And then they compared that to the GK team, and it's like the entirety of the team has won like a regional. Just one. Nick tweeted out as perspective, since the guys last won a regional, it's been 987 days since Joyo's won a regional. It's been 861 days since Archie's won a regional. And it's been 861 days as well for Oli to win a regional. It's been multiple years since these guys have won an event. And to do it with that kind of pressure, backs up against the wall, with the most competitive teams in their way. Because objectively, people at this point were talking now about how K-Corp was 1 and Dignitas was potentially 2. And they went through both of them. Like, it shut everybody up. And to me, this team only gets stronger on land. So maybe we get another lower bracket World Championship-esque run from the former Oxygen boys. I don't know. But I am selfishly very happy to watch them be successful because Oli, I think, is still an underrated player since he ever came in with Heroic with Violent Panda way back. Just that G1 situation was really rough. Jobless situation. He is going from the absolute lowest lows, no job, outskirts, trying to make a run, to being at the absolute height of his career. It's crazy to see that swing come full circle. And for Orgy and Joyo, and I'll admit to it too, you know, being part of the hate crew of like pushing this narrative of like low hours, this, that, and the others. Looks like the boys are grinding. Looks like the boys have everything to play for, and they proved everybody wrong. So good for them, man. I can't do anything but commend their efforts and appreciate what they accomplished. With that said, as you guys know, on my roster document, I do this thing where I take objective results only. How did you place? What is the average placements to find a stat? And we've got them here. If we were to take the top 16 teams in the RLCS for EU and say, where did you place? How did you do? Let's average those together. These are our power rankings. And as you notice, NIP does have a better average. But in the world of Rocket League, the only thing that matters is winning. And when you win, it weighs heavier. So while the average placements of NIP is higher by a significant margin, GK is the team that peaks higher, gets the win, and will be going to the major instead. And the benefit to them is after the major results get put in, it'll balance itself out as well. So pretty crazy stuff, man. We talk about doing it against the odds, and they do exactly that. Very, very proud of them, because the crazy thing is if you look at their average, the win completely changes the narrative. Pretty nuts. Either way, your 4 teams going to the major: K-Corp, Vitality, Dignitas, and GK Esports. What a shock that was. Wild weekend, to say the least. Absolutely crazy. With NA still having the same thing to happen. If you guys aren't paying attention, if you guys didn't see what went down in NA, you're going to see the group that I post for you guys tomorrow on tomorrow's video, and you're going to be like, what are we watching? Players retiring and everything too. So if you guys want to make sure you don't miss out on that, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let me know what you guys feel down in the comments below. What was it like for you guys watching this run? Because I think it's one of the historic ones. I think you put it in like top 3 runs all-time Rocket League history, outside of like Cloud9's lower bracket run and some of the craziness that we've seen. But that's going to do it for me today. As always, hope you guys enjoy the content. Hit up the socials. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.